All right. What is going on, everybody? Blaze over here, Blue Chip Athletic Club podcast. I'm stoked to welcome Taylor on today, one of Chelsey's hometown friends. Before we get started, real quick, I want to shout out our partners over at First Form, where we get all of our supplements. Taylor might even talk about some of them that we slid over to her for a little test run. But really, really love working with their stuff. If you guys want any free stuff, hit us up and we'll send you samples of their proteins straight to your door. Just don't be weirdo or look us up and be creepy online. But without further ado, Taylor, what is happening? I want to hit you first with, tell people about yourself, where you're from, what do you do, a little bit about, you can go origin story kind of as far back as you want.
Okay. Well, I'm Taylor Hunt. I am 32 years old. I'm from Jersey. A little bit about me. I have two kids, a 9 and 7-year-old boy and girl. They keep me busy. So along with everything else, I work full time. I take care of them full time, work out full time. I'm just a busy mom on the go always. I'm just here to share whatever you want to hear.
Yeah, cool. It's funny. I did not know Taylor until the last, I guess, probably 4 or 5 years or so. And I have I've gotten to know her a little bit with her husband. Is Chris around too? What the hell? Let's bring him
He's
on.
downstairs. I'll invite him up.
All right. We'll get him in a little bit. Super great. And I'm really excited to kind of chat with you about all things, especially like your health, and, mom, I'll say juggle act of having two kids that are definitely taking on personalities of their own. And then also having to kind of like juggle their responsibilities as well as your own, and being able to stay kind of with it, can definitely be tough for people like in general. So I definitely would love to kind of get into that too. Like how, what started, I guess, your relationship with, whether that's training or being kind of somebody who is super healthy. Cause just so you guys know, Taylor is, about to compete. And is it your first official show, in a couple months?
Yeah. First one is April 5th. First time ever stepping on a stage. So that's nerve wracking, but I'm here for it. And then April 12th will be the second one.
Yeah, that's right. So about a month away, from those shows, which is crazy. And I'm sure the training is probably amped to probably its peak right about now, I would assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about like what got you started, whether that's like working out or just like being kind of a healthy person, because you don't typically just stumble into a bodybuilding world. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
So I mean, I've always been very athletic. I've played soccer since I was 3.5, 4 years old, and I've always been in that world of sports. Soccer was my main sport, but I've done lacrosse, track, basketball, swimming, football, anything you could possibly do in the athletic world. I've given it a shot and I've done it. So it's always just been my background. I've loved it. I love being active. So I played soccer my whole life. I went to college for it. And then when I was done with that, I kind of was like, what do I do now? I need something else to do. So I started more into like the workout world, getting into like lifting and HIIT. And more recently, I got into the lifting. I was more HIIT workout and CrossFit and doing crazy stuff in general. So now I'm more focused on lifting and lifting right and doing those things for your body. So I just love it. I just love being active, and I found a love in the whole lifting world now. So it keeps me busy with that. And then I have a trainer who I found actually through Instagram, and he's from Australia. And
Give him a shout out. What the hell? Get that man's name out there.
It's crazy, but we talked and we connected, and I just found him that way, and I love him. He's great. He's been so helpful. And we were training for a while, and then he, mentioned bodybuilding to me and doing a show. And I told him that I always wanted to do one, but I never wanted to get on stage. I wanted to train for one, but I never wanted to do the actual stage prep of walking and being in a bikini in front of a crowd. But he convinced me if that was my only issue that, I'd be fine and I'll get over it and to give it a shot. So here we are, like 5 weeks out and seeing where it goes.
What's his name again? Give him a shout out, dude. Dylan, Big Dill.
Dylan.
Yeah. Shout out to
Simplified.
Dylan. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. So I feel like you've kind of like morphed from like, hey, sports realm to, I think, the hit style of like a quick effective training realm to now like the lifting realm, which I would say the bodybuilding space definitely takes a lot more of your day, time,
Oh yeah.
effort, and energy. So like as that changed and morphed kind of like along the path, like what's the motivator now? Like, are you somebody who's like, hey, I'm in the gym because I want to prove to myself that I can pop on stage and do this thing, and whether that's like overcome a fear, prove to myself that I could do this thing, or I'm just super passionate about it? Is it like, hey, I want to move for my kids? Or you know what, honestly, like there's a lot of people, and I think there is some port of like vanity of like everybody wants to look good naked, and I don't think that that's
Yeah.
ever going to go away. So it could be one of those, all of those, or some like blend. Like, what is your kind of like driving force? Because as the calorie count starts to come down and you're in
Yeah.
this cutting thing, and it's like, what is helping you take an additional step towards like being successful in this show in a month?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a little bit of everything. Obviously everyone wants to look good in like a bikini or naked or any of that. Like you just want to look good and feel good in your clothes. So that's definitely a factor, but I am just truly passionate about it. I love working out. I love the way it makes me feel. I love feeling good. I love feeling healthy, even if during prep right now and the close times it doesn't feel so healthy, but it's still I just feel good overall. But definitely showing my kids too that I can do this, and I push myself every day. I'm busy every single day, but I still get it done. I still get my steps. I make sure my workout's done and perfected. And I like showing them because I'll have my son come downstairs with me and he's like, all right, I want to lift too. I'm going to work out. I'm going to run next on the treadmill. And he'll be over there squatting when I'm doing my workout. And like, so it's cool because they're always watching. So they definitely motivate me, and showing them that they can do what I do. Because my son Logan wants to be a bodybuilder, so that's cool. But yeah, just a little bit of everything. I stay motivated for them. I try to keep it together for them. Um, and I just overall love it. I love feeling strong and feeling like I can push my limits past what I thought. It's cool to see.
Yeah, and I don't currently have kids, but everything I've kind of heard from people that have had that experience, my parents too, like more is caught than kind of taught, like you get to
For
absorb
sure.
kind of what's going on around you, and saying something and then doing something is totally different. So it's
Oh
cool that
yeah.
you're kind of like walking the walk, showing them kind of what that looks like. And I'm sure too, like you're in a position that's kind of unique in the bodybuilding space. And there's plenty of people that go to the gym and do that, but there's not a lot of people that will go up on stage and do that. And the amount of strict, regimented, not only training, but I'd say even more so your nutrition. Talk to me a little bit about that, because like if you're a parent, especially somebody who wants to compete with two kids that are 9 and 7, like
Yeah.
how are you making food for the family or doing this thing to where you guys can like, one, achieve your goals, two, have your kids eat, and not, maybe you're blessed with kids that aren't super picky, which I'm sure you can attest that that's probably
Hit or
not
miss.
the case. But like, yeah, like how do you keep that going and together along this kind of journey, especially in this critical phase of the last probably 3 or 4 months where you've shifted over from likely a bulking style phase where I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It definitely matters what you're taking in,
Right.
but you're shifting into this other realm. Well, now it has to be a lot more regimented and scripted for you guys.
Yeah, so the bulk is definitely harder than the cut, I will say that. But being in the cut, I rely heavily on meal prep. I get all my food from Coronado's, which is amazing, and it helps me throughout everything. So they keep me on
What is
track. I love
Coronados? What is that?
Coronado's clean cuisine, Christian Coronado. He has his own meal prep service, and I've been buying from him for years now. So he meal preps everything. It's all like clean food, healthy choices, drinks, snacks, everything. Like they keep me
Yeah.
on
So
par with
similar to
that.
like a Factor or like a meal service like that.
Yeah, kind of. So you have like you can like customize everything to your liking, your ounces, like your portions, what vegetable you want, um, what protein. So it's cool. Or they already have pre-made ones too, but you can customize it to your goals, and they help me a lot. And then my kids like it too. So I will buy that in bulk, and then I will weigh all my stuff out that way. And it helps when I'm on the go that everything's already cooked up and made up. And then Logan will eat that. He loves like the chicken and the sweet potatoes. Chris will get taco bowl. So like we rely heavily on meal prep and having that together and just kind of grab it and go. It makes it so much easier because I'm always on the go.
Yeah. Oh, talk to me. Tell at least everybody else I kind of know vaguely from our text earlier, but what was your day today? Or tell me what a typical day is for you, because I feel like that kind of helps paint the photo of like, hey, I'm always on the go. And some people will say that, and then you're like, oh, like they watched like 3 hours of Netflix that day, or like
Yeah.
they had all this other stuff happen. But I know from your day just this morning that is pretty true. Tell me like what a typical day looks like for you when it comes to, I don't know, maybe a random Tuesday or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, so today in particular, I was up at 4:15 a.m. I got up, got ready, worked out, got it done with. Um, Went upstairs, got my son's soccer uniform ready, found all his stuff, got him up, showered, ready, made him breakfast, made myself breakfast, um, got everything ready for his game, headed off to Tinton Falls, got up to his game for 8 a.m. and then coached that. Did that, came home.
Did they get a W?
No, we didn't today. We
Oh, was
didn't.
it
We
close?
lost, but we were
Close
missing
game?
half our team, so it was a
All
little
right, all
difficult.
right.
But he played great, so there's that. I'm very proud of him. But yeah, so did that, coached that game, came home, went downstairs again to get my cardio in, try to get more steps because I need 12,000 steps every day. So did that for about a half hour. Came up, got ready for this, and now here I am. But normally my days are get up at 4 or 5 a.m., work out, shower, get myself ready, make lunches, make my own lunch, get them on the bus, get to work all day, come home, get them off the bus, and then either I have therapy for my daughter or I have soccer for my son, and then come home, eat again, hit my steps, just make sure everything's done, and just kind of keep everything together. So it's always a nonstop.
Yeah, if you were to, I guess, like put a time amount that you probably spend on, I don't want to even say like just gym related things, but we can start with that. Like the amount of time you spend, and I know you primarily train in your basement, which is super great that you've got it like right there. How
Yes.
many hours a day, or I guess you could even put it in like per week. I don't want to make you do too much math, but how many hours a day do you feel like you're in there? And then how many hours a day do you think that you're kind of like spending on like health related like activities too, like portioning out meals, all these things? 'Cause I think it really helps like paint the picture of like, hey dude, if you're going to venture down this path, like this is the cost of what that really is gonna, the cost of being lean, if you will, I think is something that a lot of people don't truly appreciate or understand until you're doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think. So I mean I work out downstairs for about an hour, like just my lifting. And then if I have enough time in the morning, I will walk for another 45 minutes. So I'll be down there for like an hour 45 or so. Or later on I'll walk. So it'll be about probably 2 hours in that area with like lifting and walking. Um Prepping my food, I try not to like take too much time away from it for prepping. So I will just, as I go, like everything's already in bulk. So I will just like weigh it out. If I go for my breakfast, I'm just like, all right, I'm weighing out the eggs, whites, the sweet potatoes, like whatever it might be. So that will be like maybe 10-15 minutes. It's quick because it's already cooked. So I want maybe like 2 hours with like lifting and walking, and then my meals is just quick. So I try to keep that easy because I'm always, like I said, I'm always on the go. So I'm like cooking or not cooking, like weighing everything and then heating up and leaving, or just like eating when I can. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
You're always like having to like make sure you have like your food on you or your water, especially because if you don't get enough water, you feel it like immediately. But
That
I try
jersey's
not to
coming out
like,
when you say water too, that
yeah.
water.
You say it different.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, tell me about, I feel like we had kind of glossed over it and I really want to hit on it too. Like, tell me about the family support, because I know like shit, like Chris, the kids, like this journey too, and everybody that I've spoken to that has done it, like it takes kind of an army to support you as you're kind of going through this. Do you almost feel like you're a professional athlete at a certain point of like, hey, the amount of time, effort, and energy that it takes on a day-to-day basis through the weekend, all these other things, body recovery, all of that stuff. Like, so how is it that you guys are able to do that? Because I know Chris works full time as well.
Yeah.
So like, what does that look like for you? How important has their support been, like to kind of keep you on the path?
Yeah. It's very important because if you are by yourself in this, you can get into your mind. Your anxiety is heightened, and everything just kind of gets a little crazy. So having them as a support system is huge. My kids are really funny with it. Like Logan he's funny, but he's just like, oh, well, you're gonna win. It's fine. You're gonna win. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, you said it. But then like there's Haley who is like, oh, what are you gonna go do? You're posing again? You're gonna practice your posing again? I'm like, yeah, I am gonna practice my posing again. So I have them like they know, they watch, they understand. And then there's Chris obviously who pushes me and keeps me in line, even if he eats ice cream in front of me and pizza. But
He's testing you. That's
it's
testing you.
okay. I can't stop him from that, but he has goals as well, and he's at the gym all the time. So I do it in the morning, he does it at night. I support him, he supports me. I would never tell him like, no, you can't go to the gym. No, you can't do this. Because he pushes me every day to keep going, and he's like, just don't give up. Like, you have no choice. Like, this is what you're doing. I'm like, all right, yeah, you're right. I got to do it. So it's definitely helpful because I definitely like even more so now, my anxiety is so bad, with like less calories, less food, and you don't feel like yourself. So he keeps me in check and makes sure he's like, it's just your anxiety. You're not dying. You're fine. So his help through the whole thing has been really, really strong.
Yeah, kind of able to like ground you because like your
Mhm.
body's doing just a crazy shift and kind of what's going in versus like energy levels too, which I'm sure energy levels are probably something that is interesting right about now as well
Yeah, they're
with how
low.
close. Yeah. Because I know you said you're up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then you coached and now you're doing this and it's like, that social battery, one, the energy levels two, like are you a midday napper? Like what's the deal with that, especially
I
maybe on
wish.
like a
I don't have
weekend?
time to nap. I can't schedule it in anywhere. But we're actually supposed to go out today, and like socialize, like going to like a downtown festival with like all of our friends. And I'm like, I don't really want to go. I'm tired. But then I don't want to be antisocial either during this. Like I want to keep like being social and be around my friends and have their support as well. And I don't want to like cut them out during such a like hard time for me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm tired and yeah, I'm exhausted, but I want to be there with my kids and spend time with them, and I want to spend time with my friends and my husband. So I'm like, just do it. You'll get steps in and you can relax later. But
How
it's
difficult?
tough.
Yeah, how difficult is it when you're like out with friends and we've done it a couple of times where we've gone out to eat and you're like going out and you're like, what can I have? What can I not have? Like what is
Yeah.
that regimen? Have you just totally been like, I'm not eating out ever because I just don't know what exactly is going into this? And is that kind of
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Pretty much. So I even we had a friend's birthday dinner not too long ago and I didn't go. I sent Chris and I stayed home with the kids and I just hung out, relaxed, read a book, and I was like, I'll be at the next one, when I'm done, because you do have to miss out on some social events, because I'm not going to sit there and just not eat or just watch everyone eat. It's just not fun to me. But I have everything planned through my day, so I know exactly what I'm eating for my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack. So, and I know what I'm cooking it with, obviously. So, like, I can't go out to dinner and then be like, all right, yeah, I want the steak and this, and make sure I'm getting protein, but they could be cooking it with like a whole ton of butter for all I know, So it's hard. So that will come after, but I know that I'm doing this now for me and for a reason, and I want to give it my all. So I'm like, the restaurants will be there when I'm done. I can go out to eat and enjoy my friends when I'm done, and they understand, they support me. So I'm like, I'll sacrifice some times out now and then be able to do it when I'm done and
yeah.
feel good about myself.
Tell me about, you said earlier that you were kind of nervous to like get on stage and do that in front of people, but really stoked about like the training part of like the bodybuilding world. How has that like progressed, that feeling of getting on stage and that like stage presence? Cause again, I have not competed yet, but yet or potentially ever. I don't know if I really
Yeah.
want to. But I do know like the stage presence is so huge. Like you could be in better shape and more prepared from like the long tail game, we'll call perspective, more, genetically gifted, whatever you kind of want to call it. But if you have
Mhm.
less or not as much stage presence as somebody else who maybe just has more and a little bit more of that confidence, like that comes out. And then my understanding is the judges are going to like take to that and like feel that energy as well. And that's going to be so critical. So how are you kind of working on that with your coach or even on your own? Are you getting pumped up by Chris and the kids to be like, dude, mom, you're fucking
Totally.
shredded, like go kill it? Or like what's been kind of the recipe for success there?
So practicing a lot. So I do have a posing coach. I actually have two. I work with Kent Byerly, it's actually his federation of the show I'm doing. And then a girl who I was introduced to, Nicole, who is a wellness competitor. So I'm using like both of them as like how to learn the poses, and then she's kind of helping me be more like graceful with it and get the routine down. And then my coach, of course, I check in with him. I show him videos and updates. So like I said, I'm very shy. I don't like being in front of a crowd. I get really anxious and start sweating and don't know what to do. So the training is the easy part for me. I love training. I love being in a gym. I love working out. And even the dieting, like I live that way 24/7. So that's easy. But like thinking about being on a stage and having to do all like these poses and somebody judging you is scary. And like I've said before, like it's hard to like get to your best physique and work so hard and then be on a stage and a judge tell you that you're not good enough, or this isn't what we want, you need to be like this. And then you're like, what do you mean? I look amazing. Like, how do you even tell me this isn't like a winning package? But it happens, and it's just something you have to take as feedback and work harder with. So that is something that I'm learning too, is just not to get mad about anything. If somebody says like, "Hey, you need to get your legs like this in order to get here," you just take it as good feedback and work on it. But I never want to step on stage because I always thought it was awkward and the posing was so weird to me. But I've gotten so much better. It's more of like a second nature to me now, and Chris will make fun of me sometimes about it and kind of do his own posing, but he's supportive, and he's like, just get downstairs and practice, like do more, practice even more than you wanted to. So I do feel good about it, and I hope that I can bring how I am in like the basement and in my room to a stage, and it will come out the way it's been, not in front of people, but I'm just hoping it all ties together when I get
Yeah,
there.
the preparation, right, is just so key. Yeah, and it is interesting. Like you talk about, like, hey, you're on stage and you've worked for some people like a year plus
Hmm.
along the journey for this one day, and then to be up there and be told like this other person's got it and you don't, or whatever, like wherever the chips fall, because you say what you will, but like in comparison, they say is the thief of joy. But that whole thing that is comparison, right? Like you're up
Yeah.
there with however many other people in a category, and there's no doubt that you'll be like, knowing you'll be at your peak wellness, your peak, physique, your peak kind of like point there. And it's like, at this point in your life along your journey, like this is the best that you probably will ever like look, probably not feel, because you'll probably be pretty
Yeah.
pretty stacked. But
Definitely.
maybe that like cheeseburger or whatever you decided your first meal and post meal, what is that going to be, by the way? What's your
Probably dessert.
nice, nice.
I'm a huge sweet person, so any kind of dessert. My One of my friends actually, she has her own cookie company called You Choose, and makes the most amazing cookies in the entire world. And I texted her actually, and I was like, when I get off stage, I am devouring a cookie. Like, you have full range of what you're gonna make, but I need one of those cookies.
Yes,
So probably
yes.
something sweet. I could eat a whole cake right now if you gave it to me.
Yeah. But like you're at that like peak part and you just have like all this kind of preparation that goes into it, and then you're comparing yourself to all these other people. And
Hmm.
I'm sure like when you're there, like you want everybody to succeed and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you guys all look super good." But you're also there to
Right.
win, right?
Right.
You're there to compete, and you're
The
there to
competition, yeah.
also totally. And that's kind of part of it too. And I wonder like how much of that like desire to compete has come into your like training and even just like pushing you to do a competition like this? Because, me personally, like I'm a super competitive person. Like that's why I
Mhm.
continue to play sports and am
Same.
and kind of in this world still. I'm curious, like, are you somebody who's like, yeah, dude, I need to like be like proving something, whether that's to me or somebody else, or just being able to compete and find ways to keep doing that as you continue to get older? Because we're not playing, high level competitive college sports anymore, right? Like
Right.
it's not in the cards.
Yeah, it's definitely different because like this is an individual sport compared to whereas soccer was a team sport and you always were relying on your teammates to help you. So this is fully by yourself, and it's definitely something I want to prove to myself that I can get up on a stage and be graceful and do this and pose and be the best I can be out there. But my coach said he's like, obviously you want to win, but it's more about learning like the journey and taking feedback and doing all that. And I totally agree with that, but I am a huge competitive person and I want to win. Like I'm not putting in all this work to come in second or come close. Like I want to show up with my best package and I want to win. So yes, I'm taking everything as a learning curve and I want to learn everything I can, but I definitely am going to put in the extra work so that I can come out on top in the end. So like if it's extra cardio or if I need to cut out something, you tell me I'll do it and I want to give it my all and I want to win.
Yeah, putting yourself on, let's say, we fast forward a month and 4 days and it's April 5th and you're like getting on stage and you pop off and you're competing in a group of 8 or however many people are kind of on there. And for some reason, you pop off and you're getting 8th place or 7th place and you're like, what the hell? Like, how do you still feel after that like experience? Are you like, you know what, like I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna try to do it again? Because I know you have one on the 12th. You kind of have to do it again at least a week later.
Yeah.
But like after that, are you like, hey, this is motivating me to continue? Is it like, dude, like I just did all this and now I'm bummed, but I'm also motivated? Or is it like, you know what, I proved to myself I can get on stage and do this thing that was the biggest fear I had. So like I'm
Yeah.
conquering that and I'm gonna take that as a win and then like kind of continue on because I love this game. Like where's your kind of headspace at? Have you played out those kind of, I don't know, scenarios of like, what success really will look like at the end of April 5th minus a gold medal?
A little bit, yeah. I always keep in mind that there's a huge chance that you don't win, especially for a first time getting out there. There's other people that might have been doing it for years, and this is their like seventh time on stage. So it's definitely played in my mind that you might not win. You could go in there and not even place, and I think I'd be okay with it. Obviously, I'd be upset. I'd be a little mad at myself. Just kind of thinking like, well, what did I do wrong? What did I not do enough of? But sometimes it's just where it falls and what happens. I think proving to myself like I get on stage is huge too. But I probably will go back to it because who I am and I want to get better. So I probably would do it again, and I kind of want to do it again now. I'm already looking at other shows, and Chris is like, get through the first two. Like let's get through the first two, see where that goes. So I definitely would probably do it again and just be like, okay, well I'm gonna be better next time. Even if I win, I want to just get better from there and just see where I can get myself.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that's the same way. Like I almost like obsess over the process of like getting better. And then like I feel like eventually I reach a point where it's like I probably am not going to be able to improve at this too much more. And then
I can always improve.
yeah, until you're, then it becomes like a is the juice worth the squeeze discussion, right? Okay, quick technical difficulties. Yeah, but I actually remembered my train of thought, which is actually even more bizarre.
Perfect.
Back
You
to
needed
your
the break.
That's right. Back to your I needed to pee actually. Um Back to your competitive spirit. I can totally empathize, sympathize and relate to you. And the reason is because like a quick story, like when I was a kid, we probably it was about like 12 or 13, we bought a ping pong table. We
Mm.
bring this ping pong table into our house. And my dad he's kind of like one of those guys that can kind of play all sports, but is like pretty good at all of them, but not like a professional at any, kind of like jack of all trades, master of none style. So we're playing ping pong and like in our basement. And my dad's the type of guy that will never, ever let you win, like at
That's me.
anything ever. Which is okay. And I think I think that's helped me, become the person that I am today, kind of resilient and probably competitive that way too. And genetics probably play some sort of a role.
Oh.
But we get down there and we're playing ping pong games, and like the first games, I'm getting beat like 21-3, 21-4, 20, like absolutely just getting smoked. And there's like nothing that I could do. And I like every single time we play, I'd be like, again. And we would play for like hours, right? Finally, like we're starting to play, and the months go by, and now the games are like 21-7, 21-11, 21-12, like, and progressively, like every couple months, I feel like a jump happens. I figure out, like, I get a little bit better. Eventually the games get to be like 22-20, 24-22, and all these games are, closer and closer, more and more competitive. And at this point is when I know, like, I'm so close to beating him, like for the first time, that I'm like probably a 13-year-old kid, and I'm like so mad and frustrated that I'm like bawling and like walking up the steps, like crying, like I'm so close, like I just like want to beat him. And we had this, like, it's so funny, we had a fictitious thing, we called it the title of like ping pong, where like you artificially held the title if you won the last game. And obviously, like, I had never had the title before, and my dad was not shy about just being like, I've got the title, and just like rubbing it in, right? So like, oh my gosh, needless to say, like I eventually break through and I win. And then we start kind of like trading games, and it's like 50-50. And then I start winning like 21-10, 21-6, 21-5. Like the roles had flipped. And it got to a point where I actually beat him with my left hand, because I was like trying. And I will say, like, because of the competitive nature that I have, like it probably like made me obsess over that a little bit too much, to then want to like dominate the game. But also in this arena that you're in, I can kind of understand, like, I think that that's a helpful trait to make you super successful in that space as well. Obviously not to the, I think sometimes I probably have a hard time drawing the line to where it's probably not good for my sanity. But I'd say, like, as far as like competing and like being successful in the game, like I feel like it's probably really helpful. But
no, I agree completely. I push myself past limits that it's like questionable. And you're like, is this a little crazy? Like, am I being too much? But it's just who we are as people. It's just like how our brain's wired, and it's normal to us. So like if I'm not good at something, it bothers me and I have to get good at it. So I'm like, okay, well, if I don't know how to do this, I'm going to know how to do it, and I'm going to be the best at it. Like, that's kind of how I looked at it with the posing. I was like, I need this to win. It's not just like, no one's watching my workouts. No one's watching my cardio and what I'm putting into it like before the stage. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not good at posing. I'm going to get good at it because I'm going to bring it on the stage and I'm going to get really good at it. And I'm going to win. So definitely, like, it makes you crazy and you want to get really good at it, but I find it normal.
yeah. I find it, I guess, normal for what's in my brain, but when I talk to other people about it, they're like, that's not normal, bro. That's
yeah, they're like,
that's
are you
weird.
okay?
Yeah.
Like, you don't think like this?
Yeah. I heard a birdie told me that Chris had popped out of the shower just a minute ago. Where's that man at? Tell him to get in this.
Like, he wanted to know if you wanted me to introduce him at that time.
I wanted him to introduce. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, yeah, get this man on, dude. What the hell?
I can bring him in. Do you want me to bring him in now?
Yeah, you go grab him. Go grab him.
Hold on.
It's an earlier.
Outside. It'll be up in a minute.
Beauty. Well,
send him a text too. Went out in the garage.
You don't have to send him a text. You guys are in the same house. What the heck?
He's down. He went outside.
Oh. You got to say, you got to do the yell.
I did, and he was opening the garage. I'm like, Haley, go get your dad. So I texted him. I was like, come upstairs. Yeah,
and I'm curious too, until Chris comes back, have you ever thought about the flip side of you kind of guiding somebody else through a bodybuilding journey and like coaching in some capacity? Because I think a lot of people, when they do it, they're like, man, I kind of want to help somebody else kind of be be in this world too, because, you know, one, how draining and exhausting and hard it is. Two, how much it's important to have somebody to kind of like lean on in the tough times.
Right.
And three, especially if you're successful at it, other people want the secret sauce. They want like the, hey, how did you do it? Like, let me do what you did. Which I think, you know, it's really simple, but it's really hard. But I'm curious if you've ever given any thought to like helping other people through it.
A little bit. I want to, like, I have like my neighbors and like my friends, like they'll all ask me, they're like, oh, train me, like tell me what you're doing. And I know it sounds easier to just be like, oh, tell me what you're doing, but obviously everyone's body is different. Everything is going to be different for everyone. So like what I do might not work for you or my neighbors or whoever. But when it comes down to it, it's all about how motivated and dedicated you are. And if you're going to put the work in, you're going to see the results. And I do think about it like all the time about like doing like nutrition classes or dietitian classes, anything, and training and putting the work out there to like help other people. But I don't know. I'm a little nervous to do it because I don't want to be like responsible for someone like not achieving something. But then I'm like, well, you can't think like that. You got to give them your knowledge and just hope they give you give it back to you and do what they're supposed to. But I would look into it. I would definitely consider it because I do help my friends now too. When they ask questions, I will give them feedback or I'll tell them what they should or shouldn't do and just kind of like guide them a little bit where I can. But it'd be cool to do.
For sure. Yeah, it's funny. Like I again, as somebody who's never competed, I think that the vast majority of people probably won't. Is Chris there too? Get his ass in here if he's there. We're not gonna make him wait. Get on here. I'll make my point later. Where is he at? Come here, Buttercup. There he is. What's happening?
What's up,
how are you?
Good.
Dude, your lady's over here killing it, man. Telling us all about how she's about to crush. She's got a month and 4 days. You guys ready or what?
Yeah, it's getting down to the wire now. I mean, it's do or die.
Yeah.
Literally.
I hear you're still nomming ice cream and pizza in front of her, really testing her fortitude.
I try not to as much. I do it when she goes to bed.
Yeah, he snacks while I'm sleeping. Oh my god, it's so funny.
I can't get away from my snacks. I need my snacks.
I get it, dude. I get it.
You know?
What you guys got cooking over the next couple of days? What you got going on?
We're going to go over... They have an Irish festival today in downtown. So we're going to head over there in a little bit and then just meet up with a couple people.
You got your green on already. You're ready to rock.
What's it? Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. No one's pinching your underwear or whatever it is. Because isn't that it? Like pinching you somehow? Because, St. Patty's.
You don't wear green, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Haley was telling me.
I made sure all the kids were dressed up in green as well. So
Good. You did your job. Mission accomplished.
Of course.
Chelsey, you want to come say hi real quick? Or are you too busy over there? Yeah, come on over here. Don't fucking leave them by themselves. She's coming to say hi real quick.
I've been texting her the whole time. It doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
Hey.
You removed your eye patches.
Oh, yeah. I adjusted, yeah. I've been shopping the whole time. You're doing so good. Where are your kids?
Where are they? Downstairs.
Downstairs. That's why it's so quiet.
Yeah, it's very quiet right now. They're probably fighting each other.
Logan's quiet. Hales is the wild card, though.
Haley's loud. Well, Logan's usually playing his video game, and Haley's being Haley.
She's something.
Never know with her.
Good for them, dude. Let them rip it. Let them rip it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Don't work too hard.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Yeah, we'll see ya. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, coaching stuff for you. Like, it's funny. I think like as somebody who hasn't competed and someone who I'm not sure wants to, but potentially has the door open at some point. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a lot of people that almost just want to like be healthier or like look, move, and feel their best in some way, shape, or form. And that obviously there's levels to the game, right? There's competition bodybuilding level, which is probably like one of the top pinnacles, people that are on covers of magazines or actors or whatever. There's like, hey, Joe and Sally who want to like get up and not like hurt and like look good at the beach, and their definition of good at the beach from like where they began and where they are could be drastically different, you know?
Right.
And I think that like when you have done what you've done, you understand like the game of consequence enough that you could help like portray that to somebody else of like, hey, like if this is what you want to do, this is the consequences. This is the juice worth a squeeze for you to eat like this, to give up Irish festival beers, to give up like nights out with friends, or being able to order a meal out and understand like what the real cost is. Because I think people will look at your photos, and I'm guaranteeing you this is going to happen. People are going to look at your photos and going to be like, damn, like she looks so good, she killed it, like blah blah blah, like I want to do that. And then if you really were able to like package up like the amount of effort, time, and energy, like people would be like, I don't think I want to do that. Like, I think that people would like go out and not necessarily because like they don't want the result, but putting in that real time, effort, and energy is just so difficult when you aren't motivated either by the same thing or enough to really want it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, like for sure. It's you got to really consider that and like put like pros and cons of that, because you are putting a lot on the back burner during that time. And it's, you got to think about it too, is like, you're getting to do this. You're not you don't have to do this. So it's definitely something that you have to like put your all into when you're thinking about doing it. Like it's either all in or not in. Cause if you don't give it your all, you're not going to see the results that you need for stage lean or you know, but you are going to like miss out on social events, or you're going to go there and you're going to feel kind of bored. But like even like with Chris, like we haven't had a date night in months, like since, you know, Rachel's wedding. It's been like almost 6 months of just prep. You can't go out to dinner, and I mean you can do stuff at home and like do things like that, but it's not the same as if like going out to dinner together and having a drink or whatever it may be. So if that's like very important to you and you can't give that up, don't do it. It's not worth it. But also you do have to weigh in the factors of how tired you're going to be. And when you get to the end of it, like even like 7 weeks out, I was starting to hit a wall and I was tired. And I even like texted Christian Coronado and I was like, how do you survive prep? Like asking for a friend, like, what do you do? And because I know he's been through this so many times, and he gave me, you know, tips and stuff. And my coach is like, you just got to embrace the suck. Like it's going to suck and you got to just keep going. And like I said, like you choose to do this, like this is your choice. But you just have to weigh the pros and cons of it before you fully commit, because it is a huge commitment, financially and mentally. But you're gonna look great. You're gonna feel like you look great, and then everyone's gonna think you look great. But there's some downfalls. But I love every step of it. This is something that fits me. I like it. It does suck to be tired, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it really parallels a lot of other, you know, even health things. You could say like marathon training or ultra marathon training if you want to go crazy. Like those people that are like, they're running 100-mile races or whatever. Like if you don't love running, like running a 100-mile race will probably be really shitty for you, right?
Yeah, it's
like
probably not for you.
yeah, and the same goes for like, you can even relate it to like finances and like money and stuff, right? Like if you want to, you know, X, Y, or Z delayed gratification for buying a home that you want, like, oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about this. Talk about your guys' journey through that, because I feel like you and Chris, like when you decided to buy a home and like what you guys like sacrificed with your living situation, like I know about it at least to a degree, but I want to hear like, because I could never, full disclosure, could never have done what you guys did. So tell me about like what your plan was and me through this last thing, and then I'll let you get out of here because we had a ton of technical difficulties. We're going a little bit over time.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so we bought our first home. That was a little bit easier, but we like had saved up all our tax return, like everything, and like that's how we got to get our first house. And just Chris worked his ass off and just we saved and did all that. But then when we sold that, it was during COVID, so obviously like the rates were super low. You were getting double the amount for your home. So we were like, okay, we're outgrowing our house. We need something bigger. Perfect time to sell it and try to get a bigger house for a smaller amount. So we had put our house on the market. It sold rather quickly. We did find a house that we wanted, but obviously we were building it, so we had to go somewhere in the meantime. So we moved in with the four of us, our two dogs, into my mother-in-law's house, who
Bless
is a
you.
saint. Like, she's amazing.
Bless
I
you.
love
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
She does so much for us. She's such a huge help for not only us, like for the kids, and to have us all live in her house. Like, God bless her. But it's hard. She had two cats. I had my dogs, who the cats would torment the dogs. It was a hot mess. And his brother lived there. It's a very big change to live on your own and then go back to a house with like your mom and your siblings and other people, and like living around. You all live differently, obviously. So that was different, and that was crazy. But that was about 6 or 7 months we had to live there, and literally it was like a college dorm. We lived in Chris's room, like his bedroom, and the kids had one room. Haley slept with my mother-in-law, so it was a crammed 7 months. But we made it work, and we built our house, and then we were, with the stress, we were able to buy it because the rates kept going up as we were building it. It was a fun time, but we managed. We built it. We've been here about 3 years now, and everything's been really good so far. But it was quite the journey.
Yeah, but talk about like delayed gratification, right? Like the same type of stuff that applies to, finance or a living situation, that you saw the goal and you saw the thing that you kind of wanted to happen, and you had to sit with the fact that you're going to have to live in this cramped space with in-laws, which I think thankfully you guys all get along, but some people they don't, and they're like living with. I tell you what, I love my parents. If they ever listen to this, like, I love you guys so much. I will never ever live with you.
It's
Ever.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah, because it's just you don't have your own space. You're not able to do the things. Like, my parents would probably recruit me for random projects on a weekend when I don't want to do that, or I like have other things going on. So I think you guys did it for 6-7 months, and then you got to that point of like, hey, now we can go live in this house, and this thing, which you probably were able to save some money when you're doing that too, helps kind of support the dream, which I think is like so critical just for success in general, like being able to see something through, sacrifice in the short term for the long term. Like, it's just, that parallels the bodybuilding journey, the health journey in general. Some amount of stress some amount of stress and discomfort, I feel like, is just healthy and so necessary. Cool, dude. Sure. I know that we chatted for a bunch. We're going to have to figure out how to mash these up together. Luckily, Chelsey will guru that at some point, but I'm going to throw up your Instagram handle so people, whomever decides to watch this, can check out the show results that are happening in about a month. Give you some support. I know it's a tough little journey there, and if you ever do decide to coach, maybe you'll get some people to pop in there and be some of the clients that you decide to help along the way. But I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, totally. And then if you have any like parting words of wisdom for anybody who wants to either get into a show, juggle being a mom and training in health, or just in general, the floor is yours for a last little bit.
Oh, I don't know. If you love it, do it. Just go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't hold back, but just be ready to, fully commit. And if you do have kids, they're watching. It's a cool thing for them to see and really learn from. I know my kids love it, and they think it's so cool of like the things that I can do and that Chris can do. But don't let it silly things hold you back. Like me not wanting to be on stage. Like, that was my only fear. Just overcome it and have fun with it and enjoy it, and just enjoy the process, and you'll get through it. It will be good. You'll make time in a day, but it's a fun thing to just get your foot in the door with, for sure.
Cool, dude. You do have enough time. You heard it from her first.
You got to make it.
Sweet.
It's there.
All right. Thanks for anybody who's been through the technical difficulties with us till the end. Thanks again, Taylor, for popping on. And remember, let me see if I get this right again. I've been hitting it. You don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. See ya.